If you come from the area of Knossos to park in the center, it is more expensive to park the car. So we'll see what happens in the future. We don't have a tram, we don't have a subway, we don't have trains on Crete, only public buses.
But do you have large parking, underground parking?
Unfortunately, we don't have large underground parking areas because you know what's happening. Once we dig underground, we find antiquities and it takes forever. So we cannot build high constructions because we have earthquakes. We cannot dig into the earth because of the antiquities. So it's a difficult problem to solve. As you will see for yourselves, we will be approaching Knossos, which is an archaeological zone. So the city cannot expand on that side. Construction is not allowed. People that have the land around that area are stuck with it. The land has not been confiscated or compulsory purchased by the state because the state needs to invest more in archaeological zones. They have only the law that you cannot construct, but no one will buy that land because all you can do on it is cultivate olive trees. So this land, which otherwise would have been really valuable close to the city, is now really nothing much you can do with it. So on one side it's Knossos, on the other side is the airport. People don't like to build close to the airport. We have to move the airport. Okay, we can't move Knossos, but we can move the airport. There is a plan to move the airport further away. To buy a house in the area where you live, well, not a house, we don't have houses, we have apartments. We call them apartments. They are about 100 square meters, like having 2 or 3 bedrooms, let's say. That would be an average apartment. Nowadays we are spoiled. We all like to have at least 2 toilets, 2 bathrooms, and at least 2 or 3 bedrooms. Compared to our parents who grew up in much smaller homes. And you will see this in the village that we go. Homes are much smaller, which homes that were constructed 50 years ago. Anyway, that would cost about 300,000 euros in the area of the hotel, in the neighborhood that you are staying in. I was talking to you about Zeus falling in love with Europa. Europe, remember? So Zeus in Europe. The young girl was unaware of the danger when she saw this beautiful white bull approaching her, and she started to play with the animal and mounted its back. And the bull kidnapped Europe and plunged into the sea and brought her here to Crete. And it was underneath a very famous plane tree that is in Gortin, by the way. You will see it in Gortin where the law code is that I was telling some of you about. And it is a very ancient tree. Could be at least 500, 600 years old. So Zeus revealed himself to Europe under a plane tree. Now you know why we have evergreen plane trees on Crete. You call them sycamores in the States, we call them plane trees or oriental plane trees. This species is from the east, species of tree. So underneath the plane tree, Zeus first made love to Europe and gave her triplets. You mustn't kiss a girl under a plane tree. She might just give you 3 boys, huh? The firstborn son of Zeus and Europe was Minos, the king of Knossos. The second-born son was Radamanthys, the king of Phaestos. The third son was Sarpedon, the king of Malia. This may just be a legend, but it explains the existence of the prehistoric palaces of Crete. So you see, the Greeks made up the story to reflect the form of truth. The names are the original names of places like Knossos and Phaestos, and the names of the kings we have from the legends, from the myths. A number of these names are mentioned in Homer, but also have been identified in Linear B, the script that I was talking to you about yesterday. So Minos was the firstborn son, the king of Knossos. Do you know the name of his wife? The queen of Knossos was Pasiphae. Pasiphae, yes. She was well known in Greece, Pasiphae. And what gave her her fame was that she had a busy love life. But it was not her fault. You know whose fault it was? Zeus's. No, her husband's fault. It was Minos' fault, her husband. Because when Poseidon, the god of the sea, sent Minos, a beautiful white bull that he was supposed to sacrifice to the gods, he didn't. He kept it for himself. He sacrificed a sick and old animal in its place. So when Poseidon found out, wanting to get revenge, he made Pasiphae fall in love with the bull that he sent. Of course, she couldn't satisfy her love for the bull, and no one on Crete would help her. But an Athenian named Daedalus came to Crete. He made a wooden cow for the queen, covered it in animal skins, and hid her in it. So from the love affair of Pasiphae and the bull, the monster, the Minotaur, was born. That was half human and half bull.
It is windy. Temperature is probably in the low 60s, but I'm not really sure. The wind chill factor is possibly in the high 50s.
You can see these rectangular rooms in which more than 400 clay jars have been found, all used for the storage of olive oil and wine. Have a look at this and come at the other side. There's another view of them. Yes, Stella. The river. And so they had, remember, a multiple of doors, which we call polytheron. Many doors, many have forests that once covered the island, forests of cypress trees and cedar trees and pine trees. They have not been preserved. However, we still have the most ancient cypress tree forest of Europe in the White Mountains in the area of the Gorge. And we still also have the olive palm forest. Palm trees, which are indigenous in the east part of the island. So you must not know. Oh, protective walls, you are right. All open air, totally. There is some speculation of whether the royal box, that platform in the middle, could have had a covering over it. It's possible. But the seats were always exposed.
So the year would be
2,000 years before Christ.
okay.
At least, yeah. This hill was inhabited for the first time 6,000 years before Christ.
Down in that low spot.
This is a typical Cretan countryside. 80% of the land of Crete is devoted to mountains. We have 3 mountain ranges that are over 8,000 feet. 2,500 meters above sea level. It's approximately 8,000 feet.